Okay, so on to the next track in Vicky's Harmony Highway, man. So far, it has been beautiful. We only reacted to two songs, but both of them have been fantastic. For those of you who are holding your hoppy on now, I suggest you go back to Trust Me, it's worth it. Beautiful, very calming, very chilled music so far, which is great. This one over here is Roger Waters. Obviously, I've heard of this artist, never really reacted to anything of his or had any of his stuff on my playlist, but I know of him. I don't know of him well, but I do know of a artist called Roger Waters. The Tide is Turning, after Live Aid. I don't think I've ever heard the song. If I have, I'll obviously let you know, but not that anything rings a bell at the moment. So let's rock and roll, man. Let's see what we've got. Let's go.
Used to think the world was flat, rarely threw my head into the crowd. I felt I had used up my quota of yearning. Used to looking on the children at night in the glow of their Donald Duck light, and frighten myself with the thought of my little ones burning. But oh, the tide is turning. The tide is turning. Satellite buzzing through the endless night, exclusive to moonshots and world title fight. Jesus Christ, imagine what it must be earning. Who is the strongest? Who is the best? Who holds the aces, the east or the west? This is the crap our children are learning.
I've never heard this song, but I wish he was right. Because usually when you think about the tide turning, it's actually turning from a negative to a positive, right? And it just feels like we are not turning to a positive in this world. In any which way, in any which region. Not in our ideologies, not on our geopolitical situations, nothing. It's crazy. I mean, this is quite an old song, but I'm assuming what this is, 1970s, 1980s, around there. There, you could have possibly felt that the world is turning. You could have possibly felt that the tide is turning, but now it just feels like we're turning back in every which way to barbarism and horrific acts of violence. That just boggles the mind, and then you see celebrations around the world for that. It's just it baffles the minds that you're seeing celebrations for atrocities like that. Celebrations in the streets in Western democratic countries whose overall overlying morals were never that. We were always against that kind of thing. We were always, even if wars broke out, no one celebrated in the streets. No one celebrated the murder of women. No one celebrated the murder of children. No one celebrated the murder of innocent civilians. No one celebrated that. We are now. In our own backyards, that's what we are doing now. We are doing that. carry on.
Children are learning. But the tide is turning. The tide is turning. The tide is turning. Now the satellite's confused, cause on Saturday night the airwaves were full of compassion and light, and his silicon heart warmed to the sight of a billion candles burning. Tide is turning. Tide is turning. Tide is turning. I'm not saying the battle is won, but on Saturday night, all those kids in the sun rested technology's sword in the hands of the warlords. The tide is turning. The tide is turning.
That used to be the sentiment at the end of the day. I tend to look at it and I'm like, where are the peace activists today? Feels like we all just, all of these movements are for perpetuating more war and for perpetuating more hatred. Where are the peace movements, man? Where are the people who believed in something more pure, something more than vengeance, something more than barbarity, more than just tribalism? We don't have that today anymore. It's like it's actually ridiculous. There used to be a notion that that powerful people would create wars, right? But the people were always against that. They were always against the powerful people that created all of these wars, right? The death of civilians, regardless of what side they were on, was always tragic. It was always a travesty. And today we see people celebrating in the streets when people get kidnapped, taken hostages, children. People get murdered in cold blood. And you're seeing this in what's supposed to be civilized parts of the world. Democratic parts of the world, you are seeing this. The very kind of ideology, the very kind of thought, and the very kind of thinking that allowed a despot to murder 6 million Jews. The fact that people were criminally silent and turned a blind eye to real atrocities. The fact that people were swept up in ideologies that they lost their sense of morality. The fact that people lost their courage, lost their virtue, lost their essence for fighting for something great, something better. We've seen that before. History has got so many examples of that. And yet we are deemed to repeat that shit again. It's just unbelievable. We are repeating it again through idiocracy and divisions and shit like that. I mean, regardless of what side you're on, nothing should ever drive anyone, any human being with a heart, to a point where you celebrate the death of children and women. No, nothing should ever drive you there, regardless of where it is, regardless of who it is. Nothing should ever drive you to be able to do something like that. And we're seeing it all again. All again. We're bound to repeat history because we literally choose to ignore it. It's unreal.
The tide is turning. The tide is turning fast.
It's a beautiful song, man. It's a beautiful song. I mean, you had the oil rig workers that are walking away from their work, right? Tired of breaking their backs for the rich and powerful. Yeah. The crazy thing is that we used to turn away from these deplorable, rich, powerful, vile people. We never used to be in lockstep with them. Now we have a society that's in lockstep with it. We have a media that's in lockstep with it. We have institutions that are in lockstep with it. It's almost like they've galvanized this system around war and atrocities. And now everyone's just in lockstep with it. It used to be that going against the grain of the system was deemed as something virtuous, deemed as something brave to do. And today you're brave if you snap into fruition and snap into lockstep with the people that are the perpetrators of all of this stuff and try and permeate division throughout society. That's who we're in lockstep with today. It's not oil rigs anymore, but it's other resources. They've just flipped the script on us. Anyway, you guys let me know what you think down below. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.